All right, guys, welcome back. This is Geno J, and you guys are in for a treat today. I have a guest, Brendan, and he has a bunch of really good questions on how to get started investing in properties. And I'm going to answer some of those questions for him. So hopefully you guys can learn some good information. So be sure to watch this video in its entirety because we got some great nuggets for you. And also click the link below and subscribe to the channel. And as always, ask any questions you want to ask. We definitely want to answer those questions. So,
I got some good ones.
So I know you got some good questions, man. You always ask some good questions.
Yep.
I know you're looking to get started in real estate.
Yep.
So what's the first question you have?
So the main thing, I'm just gonna ask questions about the entire process from start to finish when you're doing a flip. So
Okay.
I'm looking to do my first flip very soon. So
Okay.
I'm trying to help y'all out.
Yeah.
Now, just starting from the beginning, right? Before I find my deal, when should I get my funding lined up? I know typically I'm an agent, so when I'm helping buyers, I'll have them get their pre-approval letter first. Is it the same for investment properties, or should I find the deal first and then go get my financing?
Well, you definitely should look for the financing first.
Okay.
Because this market is very hot and these deals go very fast. So it's important to have the financing, in place.
Okay.
So that when you submit your offer, of course the agent can see that you're pre-approved and they can make a decision. So
Okay.
the financing is key. It also is going to tell you what you approved thousand, and maybe the financing is only going to cover up to 250.
Yeah.
So it's going to let you know what you're approved up to.
Okay, I got you. Now, when I'm looking at my lenders, how does somebody new that doesn't know lenders, how do they go about finding reliable, good lenders to start establishing that relationship with?
First place I would say is check with your local RIA. A lot of the local RIAs have lenders. There are a lot of online platforms now that may have some local lenders. The good thing about some of the local lenders is that a lot of them are true hard money lenders where they're lending really just on the asset.
Gotcha.
And credit score is always a little bit of a factor, but it's not as important as the asset itself.
Yeah.
And if a lender knows the area really, really well, which they should, they're a local lender, then they don't have a problem lending on that house.
Gotcha.
Outside of the local lenders and checking the RIA, there are a lot of big names out there. I've used pretty much all of them. Sherman Bridge, they're pretty solid. I've used them. Lima One, I've used them a lot. They used to really be my go-to. I've used Lending Home a lot lately.
Okay.
They're very, they're out of California. They're pretty good. They got pretty good terms. And then, starting out, your rates and points may be a little higher.
Yep.
But after you do, 2-3 deals, then you can get into higher tiers where you're getting, 1 point less, 2 point less, and you can save money on interest rate and even save money on the amount you got to bring to the table.
Okay.
So just be prepared that first deal.
Yeah.
You may have to put 20-25% down.
Yeah.
But as you get experience, it may be 10% down or it may be nothing down. But you have to put your dues in.
Okay, I got you. Now, I've also heard about private money. So if somebody new, should we look into private money first, or do you always recommend going with hard money so we can actually learn the numbers and make sure we have a good deal?
Yeah, either or. Private money is really like, it could be a family member or a friend or just anybody with money.
Okay.
I think like with private money, and this is just my opinion, like, it's good to use private money. But also, if you know the people and you're not experienced,
Yeah.
I don't know how much they're gonna lend to you,
Right.
and you got their money on the line
Might-
versus having the bank's money on the line and the
Yeah.
relationship.
Right,
I mean, if push come to shove, I would rather
Put it in the bank.
lose the bank's money than my
Versus
friend's
the
money.
friend money, yeah. And a
I mean, that's
relationship.
just being honest. But I mean, but private money is good.
Okay.
I think starting out as well is a good way. Instead of just saying I'm gonna try to get private money, try to get a partner. Like for instance, you're an agent, so you bring value to the table in terms of finding the deal and knowing the value and the comps.
Okay.
And then if you can find somebody with the money,
Yeah.
and you guys can kind of coexist, maybe it's a mixture of both. So maybe you guys use a lender, and then you use somebody with the money, you do all the work, like you find a deal, oversee the project, and then you sell the project, and they bring the money, but they're not bringing the whole bag. They're only bringing the down payment money.
Right.
So if the house is 200, let's say the house is $100,000 with renovation, and you guys got to put down, let's say 20%. They're bringing the 40 grand plus whatever carrying costs you're going to need for that period of time. So maybe they're in property 60,000, and then you're doing all the work. Or maybe they want you to have some skin in the game. They may say, you know what, you put in 10, I put in 50, but you do all the work. And then y'all split it up 50-50, 60-40. There are a lot of ways to get creative.
I see.
So just get creative out the gate.
Okay. All right, and now when it comes to getting into the properties, I know I've seen some of your flips and people try to steal stuff from the properties. Starting off, let's say I'm doing a cosmetic flip. How important is it, or should I get insurance on all of my flips, or how do I go about getting insurance for my properties?
Well, when you do the loan, the lender is going to require you to have insurance.
Okay.
So you're going to have some hazardous insurance.
Okay. Gotcha.
The key to the hazardous insurance is making sure that you have some type of theft in there.
Okay.
Because you're subject to get breaking into.
Yeah, I see.
I mean, it just happens.
Yep.
And I use Liberty Mutual. They seem to have the best policies, and they have the better deductible. Like my deductible is like $1,000. Some of these companies, like American Family or some other companies, their deductibles could be $2,500. So if somebody break into the house and do, $2,000 worth of damage, it's like you're cheaper to pay for it than do the insurance claim. So Liberty Mutual is a pretty good company, man.
Okay, cool. After I go under contract on a deal, once I find my deal, go under contract, during my due diligence period, what's the first thing I should do? Is it creating a budget, or like what's the first step I should do once I have
the first thing that you should do is, and some of this stuff can kind of be concurrent and simultaneously done, but the first thing you should do is hire a home inspector and get a home inspection done.
Okay.
Because you're not going to be getting on a roof, you're not going to be going into a crawl space, you're not an electrician or a plumber, so you're visually looking at some of this stuff, but you want a professional to come out and check everything.
Okay.
And that way, you have another set of eyes that's looking at everything, and then there you have a report to go off of. Because it could be some simple stuff in there to fix, but it could reveal some major stuff that you may not have thought about that you want to fix. And so you can take the inspection report to help you create your scope of work. That's one part of it.
Okay, I got you. So the scope of work. I think that goes into my next question. So after I get the home inspection, up front, when I'm even analyzing a deal, I've created an estimated repair budget, maybe let's say $40,000. But I know now once I have it on the contract, I need a line item budget. How do I go about creating the most accurate line item budget?
Well, I think it starts with using a good line item sheet, and that's a very, very good question. Because a lot of times when you use a lot of these hard money companies, their line item budgets are kind of generic. Like they may only have 20 items on there. It may just say kitchen, bathroom, like trim, but it don't break everything down. It don't say like deck repair, or it don't say sheetrock. It don't say it don't say certain things.
Okay.
And I have a great line item budget that I'll give you, and I also leave a link to a line item budget that we actually use. So feel free to download that, and I think it's like 140 different line items, and it covers everything.
Yeah.
And so by going down that budget, it helps you think about those items as you look at them to say, did I look at that? And to make sure that you don't miss stuff, because people miss stuff all the time. Just say like for the installation, like when you get a line item budget from the renovation the lender, they may not have a line item for installation. Okay. But you got to put installation and ceiling. That could be $800 to $1,200. And if you have a crawl space, that could be another $800 to $1,200. So you can easily leave out $2,000 just by not thinking about stuff that's on the line item.
Yeah, sure.
So it's important to have a detailed line item to create a detailed scope of work so that you don't miss anything. Because sometimes, you get a loan and your loan's for 50 grand, and you covered everything you thought you needed, but it's an extra $8,000 or $10,000 that you didn't think about.
Right.
And if you don't have the money, You know, I see it all the time. People get stuck. They struggle.
Yeah.
You know, you got the payments. You know, you didn't think about this stuff, and like the money gets tight.
That's crazy. Okay. So once I got that line budget in order, you know, I'm starting to hire contractors. You know, this goes into selecting a contractor. So, you know, what's the best way to select, I guess, you know, good contractors that won't run off on you? And I guess once you do get them, what's the best way to manage them so they don't, you know, doing everything correctly?
Yeah, the first thing is, you know, it is hard to kind of find good contractors at times. Start with your network.
Okay.
You know other agents, so start with other agents. Take advantage of Facebook, like investor groups, because people will tend to refer you people that they've used.
Okay.
You know, so start with your network and start for referrals. That's always helped, you know, me find good people. Is just trying to get referrals.
Okay.
You can use services like Angie's List and some of those other services,
like
and they can be hit or miss.
Yep.
But start with your network is key.
Okay.
And in fact, what I've done too in the past, before I really had a lot of contractors, was I used to look at houses that were renovated, and I used to call the agents to see if the agents can give me that contractor's number.
Yeah,
And
gotcha.
a lot of
That's
times
smart.
the agents didn't mind. You know, they would give me the number,
Yeah,
especially being an agent.
Yeah, you gonna let them
You
list
know,
it.
I know.
You know,
you know. So and then like if you're an agent and you're with Keller Williams, it's a Keller Williams house. Like y'all already have something in common. Y'all both with the same company.
Yep.
So get that referral if you can.
Okay. I got you. Now, you know, once you get the loan and everything, how do you go about getting the draws from the lenders and, you know, paying the contractors? And when you pay the contractors, what are you using? Is it checks, PayPal, Cash App? And that's just to kind of keep everything in order so you can keep track for taxes and everything.
Yeah, and I got to finish your last question, which is kind of this question too.
Okay.
So managing your contractors. So once you have the inspection report and your detailed scope of work, you know, you use that to manage your contractors. So like when you're doing a detailed scope of work, you want to put like, you know, what type of tile you want to use, the paint colors, and give them some visuals. So you may see a kitchen that you like the one behind us, like print out a picture and say, this is what I'm trying to do for my kitchen.
Okay.
You know, and that goes especially if you're hiring a general contractor.
Gotcha.
Like if you're out the gate, if you're doing a cosmetic job, I don't think you need a contractor. That's just my personal opinion. Because if you're doing cosmetics, you probably need maybe an electrician, maybe a plumber, you know, maybe an HVAC guy, maybe a roofer, and probably a painter and a carpenter.
Yep.
So I would even recommend you hire those subs directly, because one, you know, you're going to be hiring directly, and so you're in complete control of those subs.
Okay.
So that's the first thing. Number two is make sure that you don't pay them until the work's done or until a portion of the work's done. Like if it's going to be a job that's going to take them 2 weeks to do, you know, maybe you'll pay them, you know, 50% at the end of week one after you've seen work done.
Okay.
And then you give them the balance after it's due.
Gotcha.
You know,
Gotcha.
so don't pay people up front. If people ask you money up front, you know, just tell them it's your policy not to. And, you know, if they insist, just find somebody else. Because there's plenty of good contractors that have good reputations that will start work.
Okay.
You know, if I pay somebody anything, it may be enough to get the material. And I try to purchase the material myself. That's just personally how I run my business.
Okay.
In terms of paying them, you do want to make sure you get a W-9 from every contractor.
Okay.
And like mechanicals, electrical, HVAC, plumbing, roofers, make sure that they have insurance as well. You know, so I make sure that I get the W-9, they have insurance.
Okay.
It's up to you how you want to pay them.
Okay, cool.
PayPal, Cash App.
Zelle.
I do a lot of Zelle right now.
Zelle,
Because
yeah,
everybody
Zelle.
has
I like
Zelle.
Zelle.
You know, Zelle is easy.
Yep.
You know, it can limit you to a daily limit at times, but Zelle is easy to use.
Okay.
And just to kind of finish off that question is when you end the property, you know, doing a home inspection at the end and holding maybe 10% back, because the home inspection is going to come and uncover stuff that you might not have known about, and you can use that home inspection report to get them back out here to punch out those last few items before you pay them that money. Because sometimes you pay them the money, you know.
They might get going.
Yeah, tail lights.
It's over with. Right, it's over
Yeah,
with.
the tail lights.
That's crazy, man. Okay.
Use that home inspection.
Okay. And because I'm new, I want to learn the entire process. So when the contractors are out there doing the work, I want to see it. What do you recommend somebody, like how often should they go to the job site once the contractors are doing work? Let's say a week.
I would say go as often as possible.
Okay.
You know, I'm fortunate enough to be able to scale and have some project managers where I may or may not go in the field sometimes because I got people I trust. But starting out, I was at my projects as much as possible. I mean, I was doing this full time, so I was there every day. Because when you're there every day or a lot, you know, guys tend not to try to cut corners and cover stuff up.
Right.
So they visually see you come on a project, and then you learn more because you're there, you're asking questions, you're seeing what's going on, you understand the process more. So the more you can be there, the better.
Okay.
You know, especially on your first couple, and then, you know, it's okay to micromanage it because I mean you're gonna have less mistakes. A lot of times people hire a contractor and give them $20,000, and then they call them the contractor and go in the voicemail and you can't reach the guy. You know, so I'm buying my own material. I'm not writing checks until I see some progress. And if it's a weak job, you're not getting a check until you get into the work done. And that's just what it is.
Man, that's crazy. Okay, now let's say because the first one I'm gonna do is gonna be a cosmetic job. For a cosmetic deal where it's not, you know, full, we ain't gotta go down to the studs and everything. Should I hire a designer or should I just look at other properties and try to copy? I mean, how should I go about that?
I think, I mean, you can always hire a designer. I mean, I've hired designers in the past, especially, you know, on higher end stuff that I felt like I needed to really make the property nice. But out the gate, if you're just doing a cosmetic job, I would recommend you look at some sold properties. Right now the market's pretty hot. So go look at some stuff that's pending and under contract. And then get a good visual of what they've done to the property and just try to emulate some of that stuff. I ain't saying copy it, you know, thing for thing, but you know, you're gonna see some stuff that you like. You might take something from one house and take a bathroom from another house and, you know, recreate it and make it your own. So just don't overthink it. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. You know, do what they did to sell their houses, and your house shall sell too. Guys, thanks for watching part 1. Please click the link to take you to part 2.